Hi, today it's Monday, July 13th, 2020. It's a little after 12 o'clock in the afternoon, and I want to discuss a few trades that I did today and a couple stocks I was looking at. I want to start off with this one right here, WIMI. They're a company that's in the kind of augmented reality uh, industry. Um, this was a stock I was looking at on Friday, and as you can see, this is their 1 year chart. And what's kind of funny about this company, it only goes back to April because this company is so new. So it's always a little scary to deal with a company that is this new because there's not a lot of chart history to deal with. However, they had some good news on Friday, and look what happened. They went up, right? And this was one where, here, let me go to a smaller chart. This was one where I was watching on Friday, and as you can see, it was kind of, it was down here in the nines throughout most of the day on Friday, kind of sevens and nines. And I said to myself, all right, if this thing can bust through past 10, maybe I'll buy it, waiting for the end of I was waiting to the end of the trading day on Friday to do that, or possibly do that. Now I'm in Europe, so I'm trading on a 6 hour difference. So it was like around 9:30 at night, and it was with my family. They had some people over, so I was a little distracted. So I felt like probably should not place a trade, and then try to watch it as my money's doing whatever with guests over and all that. So I just watched it, and it went up, and as you can see, it hit about 10 around 3:30 in the afternoon on Friday, and then right before the market closed, it closed around in the high 14s. Then in after hours, it went up to $20, and I said to myself, man, I could have doubled my money because I would have definitely entered the trade around $10, and it would have, went up to $20. So that's 100%. So needless to say, I was not angry with myself, which is kind of cool. I just said to myself, look, you studied the chart, you were ready, and you had a theory, and your theory was correct. There'll be another opportunity. This knowledge you can transfer to another a similar situation with another stock when those variables line up. So as you can see, now we're into today. This is today. This part right here, Monday, right here, 9:30, and it shot up right at the market open. I thought it was going to maybe die down, which it kind of did, and it halted a lot today. So this was a stock I just decided not to chase because it's already way up. It's up it even almost hit 30, today, and it's only been around since April. And it's like we're talking about a 3-month-old company, or or they've only been on the stock exchange for 3 months. So, and I try to deal primarily in penny stocks, like stocks under $10. So now that this is way up here, this is something I'll watch and maybe wait for it to go down again and maybe enter a position at that time. So I was looking at that one, and then this morning I was looking at CYDY, and this one confused me because this is Friday. It was up here, and it looked like it's had some strong ups and downs. We'll say, I guess it's been volatile, and it's one that you could easily lose money or easily win a lot of money. Nevertheless, in pre-market today, this is the end of the day on Friday. So pre-market, we'll see, they don't have a pre-market zone, but say it's in here. It went down. It was tanking. And I was like, that's weird. So I checked the news on it, and the FDA had some kind of a not so flattering comment it had on a report with CYDY in it. I think they rejected some of their trials, or their clinical trials. They're a biotech company. So in the chat room I was in, we were all saying, stay away from it, stay away from it. It's DOA, it's dead on arrival. But some people said, well, no, I'm going to go for it. And they lucked out. It dipped down to, it opened at 324, dipped down to 288, and then it just kind of, it got itself up to 343 by, not even before 10 o'clock. Less than a half hour, it got up to 340s, and then it even got a little higher 15 minutes later, we'll say. And look at that, it even got up more. So it kind of baffles me. And this is something I would like to try to understand better and maybe do a little research, see what maybe some analysts have to say. I don't want to spend too much time on that sort of thing because analysts, it's all very speculative as to why you have this kind of price movement after a stock got bad news. Hard to say. So I mean, the volume is, we're talking almost 16 million volume. So, that might have something to do with it in terms of a lot of high volume. There's a lot of support for the stock, even with the bad news. It doesn't always work that way. Sometimes they just continue to go down and down and down. And so that was something I decided to steer clear of. Whenever I see bad news like that, you should never play it. But for some reason, it worked out for some people who took a chance on it, knew something that I didn't know. Maybe there was some things on Twitter that was being discussed about it. Sometimes they get pumped by people on Twitter and stock twits and that kind of, on those kinds of channels. Anyway, so let's move on to some of the stocks that I actually did place trades on. I think the first one I did was VUZI, VUZI. So this one, what happened here? So I was watching this one in the morning, and it was trading in the fours, I think, low fours in pre-market. And when it opened, it went down to 383. That was when I should have bought in, because then it climbed up. I mean, all right, so look, when it hit this low, we're talking 2 minutes after the market opens. Normally, I don't like to trade that. I like to wait a little bit longer, wait maybe 5 or 10 minutes into the open. But we're talking 2 minutes, it hit that. And then within, what's this? 8 minutes later, it hit some highs at 420 maybe. So we're talking 380 to 420, 40 cents. That's pretty good. It's a pretty good move. And then look what it did. It just kind of trailed right back down. It went lower than it did on that first dip of the day. And then it went back up. So it's a bit choppy. This is one where I entered a position at 9:52 in the morning. Let's find 9:52 in the morning. So 9:52. So right in here, I bought. So what I did was this red candle right here. Let's open it up a little bit. Sorry. This red candle right here, I thought, oh, okay, here we go. And I watched it dip down to 390, 392. And then I saw it struggle a little bit, and then I started to see it climb. So I thought, okay, let's buy now. So I bought in at 393, which is pretty close to what this little bottom was right here. And then it was struggling, in here in this range. It got up here to $4 or whatever, and I was hoping it to get up near 410, and then maybe break through that. And then, of course, as this started to happen, I immediately said to myself, what were you thinking? There was already a dip. The chances are of a dip and a bounce. And the odds of a second dip and a better bounce, I mean, no, it made me wary. So I pulled out at, literally 7 minutes later. I pulled out right before 10 o'clock at 393, as it was coming down a little bit. And so I got out around here. So we're talking almost less than 1%. Of course, if I had had some patience, but in order to have some patience, I would have had to stomach a low of 378. And I guess that's really where the true bottom was of this dip. It wasn't up here where I thought it was. It was actually over here. And look what it did. It went up to $4.11. And it's even gone up higher than that today. It's gone up to about 420. Now, I don't feel too bad about this because I lost less than a percentage point. But because trying to practice some patience through this sort of thing is really difficult because, say for example, I held and I went through this, dropped down to 478, I'm sorry, 379, and it started climbing back up. When you got about here, this red candle right here at 10:33 in the morning, we're at like 408. If I was still holding and this thing dropped, we're talking almost 9 cents, 8, 9 cents, I probably would have got out somewhere in here. Of course, it went back up again. So I don't feel too terrible about, cutting out. If I had cut my losses like over 5% and then the thing bounced like this, I would be a little irritated. That's why I always try to cut my losses no more than 5% because, even if you're wrong, you don't feel bad about the small percentage of money you lost. At least that's how I deal with it. The other one I looked at was ECOR, which is, I think, electric vehicle industry sector. What happened to me on this one? This one was a little strange too. I immediately went over to this one after I closed out my position on VUZI, and it was about, I was watching it, in my watch list, and I saw something that made me think I should get in on this. It was around 10 in the morning. It was, so, okay, here it was, right here. Let me expand a little bit. So it was at this moment, oh geez, that's a little too much. At 10:03. Yeah, somewhere in here I thought, like, okay, there was this candle. I watched these candles. That's what happened. I saw this happen, and I saw a continued drop. I didn't see any bad news, and then this happened in here. Then it started to climb up, and when I see it start climbing up like this, I think, like, okay, this is where I get in because maybe it'll come back up here or something, come up to the this support level, the intraday support level, we'll call that. I'm still very new at this. I've only been doing this for about a year in terms of studying, and not trading much, but like in the last 3-4 months, I've been trading a lot more. So in any case, a little disclaimer for you all. In this one, it failed. It started failing, and I did the same thing. I'm like, I didn't even want to waste any time. I got out. I started thinking, this is a potential. It's already up, way up high off of what it was. I mean, look at down here. It was at 86 cents. I mean, it shows some history. This is a year-long chart of having volatility, and having some spikes. But I thought, what, this might be a toxic finance. This might be something where people are, they're just trying to raise money for the company, and because it just trailed off, and now we're in the 220s, and I cut out at $2.50. I bought it at $2.54, and I cut out at $2.50. Another like 1% loss, so don't feel too bad about that either. So what I'm going to do is later in the day, when the market gets close to close, maybe around 3 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to look at some of these stocks again, and maybe I'll find some other ones that are in a similar industry, and see if any of them are going to have some potential legs overnight, and just continue my research. So hope you enjoyed the video. This is my personal kind of journey through each trade that I do, or through each day where maybe I don't do a trade, but I follow a few stocks, like that other one I was telling you about, WIMI, and we'll see where it goes. All right, thanks for listening. See you on the next video.